You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. Carry on, don't fear the fall, 'cause you'll get over heartache.
Good night, Mission. Welcome to yet another episode of What's Happening Now with Laura. And Bacchanal is in the air, Carnival is around the corner, and I getting up for my favorite show. Well, my only show for the year. Yeah, kind of sad, considering I was the social butterfly back in the day. But hey, you grow up and you calm down and you're very selective. And basically, I select the only big people party for Carnival. I don't care what they say. Like Kenson said last night, Mamily. But before we move into Carnival and Bacchanal, we're going to talk a little bit about Bacchanal and Carnival of a different kind. Yeah. So essential services, like the name suggests, there are services that are necessary, services that we need as a nation to progress, to grow, to move on, to move on from a developing or an underdeveloped nation to a developing nation to a developed nation, because this is what we want. We want to attain the status of being called a developed nation. Currently, I think we're classified as developing, but to me, and I'm certain to a lot of other St. Lucians, we are still underdeveloped. We are still a third world nation and not close to being a first world nation. Although we like to think so, and although our taste buds and our passions and our tendencies tend to belie that status, but it is. And I'll tell you why. This week, especially, two essential services have piqued my ire, and I say that because there are issues that have been continuing, we've been discussing over the years, especially when it comes to essential services. And I'm one who's always on the back of police, firemen, teachers, nurses, doctors, because these are essential services. We need them. A healthy nation is a wealthy nation. We all know that. So if our people are consistently sick, consistently ill, consistently in and out of hospitals and homes, it means therefore our productivity drops and we cannot progress as a nation. And we all know that Sir Arthur Lewis told us, he wrote the prescription to getting out of poverty. And he said the prescription for getting out of poverty is not money, it's education. If you have an educated nation, you will have a wealthy nation, because these people, the citizens of this nation, they can move mountains. So here are the two essential services that I really am going to champion their cause this week. Nurses. So we heard about nurses leaving in droves, and I thought we were having a mass exodus. I thought we were having like 60 nurses a week leaving, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we will have pretty soon no nurses, because the few nurses, I think 175 nurses who wrote the exams, who are qualified but were not able to be absorbed into the system. This is just 175. So if we have like 60 nurses, I know I'm exaggerating and I'm being a little out there, but if we have about 60 nurses leaving every week, 175 new nurses are not going to cut it. And it's even more alarming because these are nurses who are out of practice. Yes, they are qualified, but they have not been practicing because, well, they couldn't get a job. They were not absorbed by the system. Turns out we have 2 nurses a week, which is still alarming when you think about it. When you think about the size of our nation, of our populace, when you think about the size of our skilled populace, and 2 nurses per week, according to Mr. St. Hill, are leaving the service every week. Pretty soon, that 175 nurses who were not absorbed previously, who are being absorbed now, that will be expended, and we won't have nurses. We'll have to start importing nurses. And if we start importing nurses, then guess what? The same monies, the same resources that we claim we do not have currently to pay our nurses a reasonable wage, we will have to spend it because we want the nurses and we want to attract them. And so we will have to spend a little bit more than what currently stands. So here's the thing. So I did some investigation and I thought nurses were actually leaving because the standard or the conditions were so poor. And it is, because if your conditions are right, no matter what the external forces are doing, then you would stay because the pay is right and you'll be near your family, near your support base. You wouldn't leave. But guess what? There will always be people who are attracted to higher pay, who are attracted to greener pastures, who are attracted to living abroad, getting wider experiences. There will always be people, no matter what the pay is, no matter how good they're being treated, no matter how good they're being paid, there are always going to be people who will be attracted to that on the other side of the fence. Basically, people want to travel. They want to experience new things. And yeah, if the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada in particular, are recruiting and recruiting hard because they're going to be paying your exam fees, they're going to be paying your relocation expense, they're going to be paying all the expenses incurred with moving across because they recruit and they recruit hard. I remember a few years ago when our teachers were being recruited by the US, especially in the Bronx and Brooklyn and those inner city schools, and our teachers were leaving in droves because they felt that they were getting a better bargain. Some of them really spent money to get out of those contracts because what they were sold, the bill of goods that they were sold, was not what they were getting. I mean, you're going into inner city schools. We don't have inner city schools like these countries do. I mean, when you're talking about schools where there's barbed wire and you're talking about metal detectors and you're talking about heavy security at schools because kids are coming to school with guns and they don't care. You wear the wrong color, they take you out because they're already in gangs. We don't have that in St. Lucia. So when some of our teachers went across, that was some of the, and I know that personally because some of my friends went across and they hustled back. They got out of those contracts and they hustled back home. When you see you get in there, no matter what we talk about, the grass streets, and the graveyards and the marshals and the foashos and all of those places that we consider bad man territory, when you go into some of these countries and some of these boroughs and some of these counties, it's not the same. It's not the same. So the culture shock is one thing. But when you actually get there and you have to deal with these things, man, let me tell you, a grown person crying mommy. And I'm talking serious conditions. Some got it good because not all the schools are bad. But when you get into some of these schools and you see what's going on, let me tell you, you hustle back for your little $1,600 or $2,400 or whatever they were getting paid at the time. And you say, thank God, because at least if I'm hungry, I can go to the neighbor and ask for a wajim fig or a breadfruit from a tree, because you can't get it that bad. However, so from my understanding, nurses are moving on because they're being recruited, they're being offered a package in the UK, in the US, in Canada, wherever it is, and it is good. And bravo to them. I mean, I worked abroad and I loved the experience. I wanted the experience. It opens your mind. It opens your avenues. It makes you a better person. Because when you're used to something and you just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, yeah, you think you're the best. You think you're the cat's pajamas until somebody else comes in with a wealth of knowledge that you have not been exposed to. Then one of two things happen. You become overwhelmed and you try to do your darnest to pull that person down because, hey, you want to be kingpin. You want to be the big fish in a small pond always because you're so myopic. Or your eyes open and you go, wow, the world is bigger than this. You absorb what they come in with, or you want to go out there and experience it for yourself. So the nurses leaving, one is a good thing for the nurses if that is what they want. But it's also a bad thing for us because we need our nurses. And if our nurses are leaving 2 a week, it's just a matter of time before the 175 nurses that I talked about earlier are completely absorbed. And it further compounds things because what you have is a bunch of nurses who have not had hands-on experience for a while. And the experienced nurses are leaving. So there's no transference of experience, there's no transference of information, there's no transference of training. Now, somebody said to me, so what they need to do is to pay for nurses to go to school like they were paying for teachers. At one point, when you wanted to become a teacher, you taught for a year, then you moved on to teachers college, the state paid for it, you came back and you didn't have, teachers didn't have that expense. Now teachers have to pay for their training. So why don't we go back to that? And I said, that's fair enough, good enough. But other industries are going to wonder, why not us? Why aren't we? We pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I can tell you, as a person who studied abroad in North America, the amount of money we spend to get trained, it is not minuscule. And so you begin to wonder, why not me? Why can't I get my bursary or my scholarship or my education paid for? Here's what I think should happen. I don't have a problem with the state covering the cost of essential services, the training for essential services providers. However, they need to be bonded. And you're going to be bonded for, let's say, 10 years. And if after 5 years you want to break that bond because, well, an opportunity came around and you really want to grasp it, it's going to make you a better person, a better professional, more well-rounded, not a problem, but you're going to have to pay to get out of that 5 years that you're still bonded to the state. There's no such thing as a free ride. No such thing. There's no free lunch. We need nurses, and we're going to pay for them to get trained. But in order for me, as a taxpayer, to be comfortable with that, I want to know that for the next 10 years, these nurses are bonded to my country, so that when I need the services of a nurse, a properly trained nurse, I have it because I paid for you to go to school. And that's how it's going to work. That's how there are always opportunity costs. There's always, you give up something, you gain something. No such thing as a free ride. So I think it's incumbent upon the government to ensure that we have proper health care. And I'm not talking about buildings. I'm not talking about buildings right now. We're talking about the service. We're talking about the provider. We're talking about the nurses, in particular, the midwives. And here's the thing. I understand that midwives are being paid the exact same as regular nurses, and that somebody had the gall to say that regular nurses can deliver a baby. Well, it's true. That may be true in theory. But you don't see a doctor coming to give you an injection or changing your diaper, your bedpan. They're trained to do so. They know how to do it, but I don't see them doing it. So why would you want somebody who's not actively pursuing, maybe they're not even interested? And mind you, midwives go through specialized training, just like a GP, a general practitioner, goes through specialized training if he wants to become, let's say, a pediatrician or, let's say, a surgeon. They go through specialized training. So too the midwives. And if I go through this extra training to become a midwife, why should I be paid the same as a regular nurse? You do not see a paralegal being paid the equivalent of a lawyer. Nor do you even find a specialized surgeon, a cardiologist being paid the same as a general practitioner. That doesn't happen. And if that does not happen, why is it that you expect a midwife to be satisfied after having gone through the extra training to get himself or herself trained as a midwife? A guy's called midwives, but that's for another story. You don't expect them to be happy to be paid the same as a regular nurse, having gone through the extra mile to get trained as a midwife. Come on, people, let's wake up and smell the coffee. Let's treat our people with a little RESPECT. I mean, really, seriously. Now, speaking of respect, and speaking about training, and speaking about getting our people prepared and ready for the field of work. Common Entrance was written last month. Results came out yesterday. And I am appalled in 2019 that we still have children scoring 9% on a regional exam. Yes, you heard me right. 9%. 9%. What went wrong here? In an entire, 7 months of a curriculum, of a 6th grade curriculum, it was not noticed that that child is not prepared at all to write common entrance? When that child was in grade 5, nobody noticed. We have minimum standard in grade 3. Nobody noticed that that child is not going to be prepared in 2 years to write common entrance. That didn't happen overnight, you know, people, for a child to write an exam and get 9%. There had to be consistently, that child had to be consistently performing poorly and being promoted to the next grade year after year after year to get to the point that you sit and write an exam and get 9%. To get 30% is like, whoa, it's alarming. But to get 9%, that's beyond alarming. This is disrespectful to the child. It is disrespectful to the parent. It is disrespectful to the teacher. It is disrespectful to the school. It is disrespectful to our nation to be promoting children year after year after year after year to write an exam as important as common entrance. And I know people are talking about abolishing exams, these big exams, because, oh my gosh, the pressure on the children. We all did it. And we had less school places. But to tell me that you're going to promote a child simply because there's so-called universal secondary school education and promote that child to write an exam, an entrance exam, and that child cannot even meet the minimum mean, the minimum average to enter that school and say, whoa, we had 2,272 students writing common entrance. Yet still, and it may be minuscule, it may seem like a drop in the bucket, but when 50 children in a nation the size of St. Lucia can tell me you're getting between 9 and 30%, something is wrong. And then now we have the junior care program, which I heard, bravo, because there's always a silver lining, so that these kids have an opportunity to now go to care, to learn different things and to relearn, like maybe remedial schooling, the basics, to hopefully in a year or two reintegrate into secondary school life. But it should not even have come to that. From the time the child moves on from what I know as infant school, which was what, stage 3, which is now what, grade 2, to grade 3, that child, that's a red flag right there. After grade 3, you should be able to look at that child's course of work and say, no, that child cannot move on to grade 4. That child is not ready. In my day, that child was made to repeat, or that child was sent to what we call special ed, the special class, where that child now goes over the remedial, the basics. You know, we in our hurry, in our haste to progress, we are retarding ourselves. I always say, we have universal secondary school education, but we are churning out more functionally illiterate children than ever before. I know children who write CXC who don't even turn up for CXC because they can barely write their names. We have children we know who are mentally challenged and they're in a secondary school education. They go 5 years. And I dare say, and I'm bold enough to say, wasting the time of the other students in the class and the teachers because we know for a fact that there's no way they can keep up. But we promote them year after year until they get to Form 5 and voila, we thrust them out into the big bad world and we say, go out there and become productive. Productive at what? Productive at what? You know, and then we want to say, do not abolish corporal punishment, because guess what? You know, if a child cannot understand the concept of 5 by 5 is 25, I'm going to beat you until you get it. Now, not only do I not understand 5 by 5 is 25, I hate you because you're beating the crap out of me. And I despise school. I'm afraid of school. I don't want to go to school. So guess what? I will never understand the concept. Because when I was a child, the teaching methods have not changed that much. There are still kids who are being taught the same way by rote. They're not made to understand what a concept is. And I know people to this day who continue to suffer from that. Like there's something wrong about that. And it's becoming more and more apparent when kids are getting 9% in an exam. 9%. What? You only wrote your name, the name of your school, your class, the subject, and that's it? To get 9%? I mean, seriously, people. Are we satisfied with that? One child getting 9% is one too many. Now, I understand that there are special circumstances where scribes and readers are provided for students, for some students. And I can understand if you have a sight impediment, and I can understand if you have problems writing because of a defect, not any through no fault of your own. I can understand that. So you need a writer, or you need somebody to read it for you because maybe there's no braille or whatever. And I know we're getting there. I know we've made some advances. I'm not completely knocking them, not completely insensitive to the strides. But what I'm saying is this: if a child who we say have no perceived impediments to learning needs a writer or a scribe, something is wrong. That child ought not to have been promoted to grade 6. Ought not to have been. And I stand firm on that. We have to go over our system. We have to go over our curriculum. We have to go over the education system and stop letting our children fall through the cracks, because more often than not, there isn't a safety net to catch them when they fall. Sometimes the home is not conducive. Sometimes the school is not conducive. Sometimes the environment on a whole is not conducive. What is wrong? And I hope, and I heard the chief education officer say that this is a time when information comes in, data comes in, and it's time to analyze. And we're going to analyze. And year after year, we're going to analyze. But year after year, some schools consistently perform poorly. And I wonder why. And I wonder why. What is being done with all the analyses that are being done? What is being done with them? When you have schools consistently performing poorly. And I want to say bravo to the Labrie Boys Primary School. I want to say bravo to PI. I want to say bravo to Bans-Lagras and Dugas for, really coming up, growing leaps and bounds. In some of those schools, my classmates are running these schools as principals. So bravo to you guys for a job well done. But there are other schools that are not making the grade, and we have to do something about it. We have students who are fantastic musicians, but they never get that opportunity to explore that until they get to what? Form 3? And by then, what? Other schools, other territories, children their age, they're prodigies. What are we doing? What are we saying to the future of our country? We have excellent sportsmen who shrivel and die on the vine because they're in a classroom learning about biology and they're not interested in biology. So why don't we have sports academies where they can go in, learn English, math? You need to do English, you need to do math, you need to do accounts of business, because you need to know how to count your money. There's no escaping that. And you need to learn a foreign language. So let's do 4 subjects and focus on sports. Let's do 4 subjects and then focus on music. And let's produce the best artists that we can possibly produce. Let's produce the best sportsmen and women that we can possibly produce. Don't just thrust the child up. You promoted, going up. Grade 6, right common entrance, and get 9%. Then, you know what? I'm going to shove you to a school anyway. And then 5 years later, you can't even come out with 1 CXC. Like, seriously, what's that? And I hope the parents of the children, I'm speaking to you directly, parents, of these children who got between 9 and 30%, that you take the opportunity, that second chance for your child to go back and relearn the basics, what they missed, and perhaps learn a trade and learn where they are best suited. Because that thing of, I want my child to go proper secondary school because of the shame. Shame on you if you do that. You're doing a disservice to your child and a disservice to your country. On that note, we'll take a break. And when we come back, my favorite artist of all time is right here in the studio with me, and we're going to have a blast. Stay tuned.
You'll get over heartache. You'll get You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. Carry on, don't fear the fall, 'cause you'll get over heartache. Let it go as time moves on. Yes, you'll get over heartache. Carry on, it's not what happens now. You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. Carry on, don't fear the fall, 'cause you'll get over heartache. Let it go as time moves on. Yes, you'll get over heartache. Carry on, it's not what happens now. You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. Carry on, don't fear the fall, 'cause you'll get over heartache. Carry on, it's not what happens now. You'll get over heartache. You'll get over heartache. You'll get
TJ Mother, welcome back to the show. Welcome back, and thank you for staying tuned to What's Happening Now with Laura. And I'm having so much fun in studio right now. So yeah, I was a little upset, but you know, we're moving on. So my guest tonight is very fair play. You know what fair play is? Fair play, fair play, fair play. I put water in their mouth to say nothing. They just tell you what it is. And if you don't like what you have to say, the man just tell you, Ali, 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 Ali. But don't think you can tell him you have no code. The man telling you, I on a mile high. And I tell him, but Jay, shall I show? But, you know, the man has the guts to ask, can I say what I want to say? I really want to say what I want to say. And begins to vent. I tell you, I am speechless. And that's difficult because you know I am a woman with lots of words. But, Koyodi, Idu Kosa. By now, you should know who my guest is. Yes, people, it's none other but the inimitable TJ, my Groovy Soca King of the Year. TJ, I don't know who they give it to, but that's my Groovy King. TJ, welcome.
That piece of intro already, kind of.
That's how about you know already.
A whole album, you know, whole album.
Yeah, you guys. I have to put my mixtape. I put it every year. I have to put my mixtape. Because what are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah, man. I have to put. Yeah, man. I have to put my mixtape.
You're looking wild. You're looking well. You're looking well. You're looking prosperous.
TJ, it's another year.
Another year.
I feel like it was just yesterday we were talking about U6.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about U7.
Yeah, time flying.
Yeah, man. And TJ, a lot has happened in the
Yeah.
last couple of years. We're giving tickets away.
Yes,
We did
yeah.
before.
Look at that.
This year, I have that. We make a baby.
Yeah, we make a baby. Let me tell you something.
U6 make a baby.
Let me tell you something. We just do things around here, you know.
Yeah, man.
If you want to get connected, come on the Laura Show. You
There
get
you
connected.
go,
Do
there
not
you
come
go.
worry. I'm telling you.
True,
We
true,
good, we
true,
good, we good.
true. Well, we
Yes,
made a
sir.
baby, and I must say thank you, TJ. You made it happen.
you
I
very
mean,
much.
in my silver years, I didn't think there was that.
The love doctor, call me
Yeah.
555-455.
There you go, there you go.
Yes.
We made it happen.
Yes, love.
U6 opened a door
That's right.
that was shut, and I never see that coming. And that
Telling
just
you.
opened on me, whoa.
What's
Look,
up?
yeah, man.
I'm telling you, by birth.
By birth.
Yes, yeah.
But TJ, it's yet
Yes, love.
another year, and you're back here.
Yes, love. How are you?
I am great. I'm
Yeah.
fantastic. You're here with me, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have to be
I'm good.
great.
Yeah,
I have to be
yeah,
good.
yeah.
TJ, what has been happening since we last chatted?
Wow. A lot. Just being out there doing what I love, which is music and representing my island to the fullest. So last time we were here, I remember we spoke about Vent, and Vent was one of these songs.
And that was my song last year.
Yeah.
I was. Let me tell you, I vent for a whole
I
year.
know, don't think,
And I still vented.
I know, don't think that thing. It's all love, but it allowed other doors to open, and it allowed my position to be more solidified in the industry, especially on the outside.
Well, you're now bigger. You're large. You're
You
rich.
know, well, I mean, I ain't rich yet.
I mean, well, not RAC,
You know,
but
I
you
know.
know RAC.
Yeah,
you there.
I think what it is that a door, the door is open, and I'm in a place that you decide, okay, what next? What do you do with that spot, because you have your spot inside. So for me, is being able to create those relationships, me able to do proper music that can still touch people, and I've been known to do a lot of real songs and songs that
songs that speak to everything.
Yeah, for me-
Every year you make a song that really touches. You say, wow, that's serious.
yeah, for me, I just wanted to do something different, because every carnival to me, you can't talk about the same things.
Yeah.
It can't be
But that's what
jump and wine
differentiates.
and
But I don't
every
mind
year
jump
so.
and wave.
You'll do that, eh?
But jump and wave a little, put a little kung fu
little
panda in
something,
there,
yeah,
a little
put a
something,
little-
something
I mean,
extra. And consciousness.
Yeah.
We forget consciousness.
Yeah.
Like this month, I wanted to do my Let's Talk About Sex.
Yeah.
But then I thought, but I have TG, I have this.
Yeah.
How am I going to fix it? But then it's important.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the holistic thing. We have to talk about, all the things that people say. Because I go out and I have a good time and I put my little hot shots and I go and I telele and all of that doesn't make me a bad person, I'm a good person. And
That's substance.
yeah, man. Yeah, man.
So for me, this year with the music especially, I did stuff different. I have something for everybody. So the inspirational line, you have the song that I did called Leave or Kitesa,
Yes,
which
yes.
I am going to do something very special tonight.
Yes.
You understand? And the music video for Leave came out last night, produced by Logo, with Danielle Dubois as well.
Speaking of Daniel,
that's my girl.
hi Daniel, I have to give you a call
Mm-hmm.
because your number changed, but I got it anyway.
Yeah.
I have to give this young lady
Amazing,
is fantastic, amazing,
They did-
vocals, lyrically.
yes.
The girl she's a solo package.
And she got a mind of putting things together and creating stuff. So they worked with me on Vent together. So my thing is that when you have a team like that, you don't break that up when something like that going good.
Right.
So we're able to come up with some amazing concepts of life situations where Kitesa is concerned. So everybody's going to see that tonight, at the end on your show.
yes,
There's
absolutely.
the other one that I did with Kes called Idu.
Oh my God, that is it. That's the jam.
Yes.
Oh my
that,
gosh.
That one I wanted to big up Darwin God on that one and Peppy. It was composed by Darwin. What we decided to do this year, I was doing a lot of touring, in the middle of touring, and being able to have music there to organize. I said, okay, I'll work on what I was working on, and you can work on something and you can present it to me. And Darwin was like, all right, Teddy, you have an idea there. You understand? And Darwin was like the executive producer of that, together with Peppy of Focus Production. And I was like, when I heard that, I was like, yo, that have a vibe, I said that for a friend of mine. I said that for a friend of mine. Called Kes.
Yeah,
It's
man.
like, Kes.
When I check it, I said,
Yeah,
what?
yeah. Kes and I had a relationship way back, but we got closer with Vent because while I was not doing, if I was not doing a show with Blacks and them in Trinidad, I used to perform with them, and they've been pushing Vent from Toronto last year.
Right.
So they were like, Teddy, anywhere we are, you there. So we created that relationship. So I was like, yo, Kes, I have something there for you. And when he heard the lingo and he, trying to get into that market as well, he's like, oh Lord, let us
That
go.
is just rocking.
So that is amazing.
And Kes has a large following here in St. Lucia.
Amazing. So coming up the hills of Savannah Grass to say yes, to do something with me, it's
and it's the organic,
yes,
that
happened.
old feel,
so
mixed fusion type of thing.
That's right. We go up Trinidad, and we make sure we get it right. And then the last one I did, which seemed to be, the ladies been loving that one, is one called Creme de la Creme. That one is off the on a fuse rhythm by producer G6. Everybody been telling me, Tedderson, the Denry rhythm boy, when you go come and do and try something. But here's what I'm saying. I cannot be a Moto, I can't be a Freezy, I can't be a Black Boy, I can't be a Stevenson Mighty. I'm a singer. So I'm going to bring my kind of vibe
Yes,
and
yes,
my kind of energy to
Right,
it. And then, link up with Six, and I was like, yo, Six, I have an idea there. Let's work with that. And then we added some production to it. And Creme de la Creme is a song for the ladies.
Where do you get the time to do all of this? I mean, you're touring, you're creating, you're producing. There's never a year where, like, for most singers in St. Lucia, it's a seasonal thing. So they have their day job, and then they do this seasonally. So they drop a tune or two just for competition, and that's it. And then over time, maybe over 20 years, they have a compilation where they can have a full set on a
happy.
show. But you can mix it up, and you can do a show on 1 year with no old music.
I'm
Where do
happy
you get
you.
the time?
I'm happy you said that, because I'm a full-time musician. I'm a full-time artist. I left the working field or the working force. I used to work in hospitality, Smugglers Cove, Sandals, Amman Morgan Bay. I left that and decided to go full-time into music. So what you put in is basically what you get out. That's how I, take care of my family. That's how I pay my bills. That's what I do. So I need to be able to have quality music that's out there that can touch people, and get a reaction out of people that they can want to see me do something. So the time I get to do it, when I'm on the road, being a musician, your mind always goes. So even if I'm touring somewhere else and I have a downtime, chilling in my room or something, I would just watch. I would just, when I did Vent and I started Kitesa, that was on a cruise ship. So me in my room, you understand, on the deck having breakfast, and just you watching the ocean, and you're thinking about life, you're thinking about situations, you're thinking about what everybody goes, you just think about different things, and you write it with like a third eye. So there's a guy that I normally work with in Trinidad called Jeremy Jacobs. We did Vent together, we did Kitesa together. Edu was with Darwin, Kess, and Savion Blue. I also did Creme de la Creme with Savion as well, Blue. And just the ideas, I never stop having ideas, and all the ideas that I have is what I put to manifest. You understand? So the idea is always there, everything always keeps flowing, but I just never stop. When you're a full-time musician, I don't
afford to sleep on you because it's your bread and butter.
So I ain't going doing this and then go to a 9 to 5 after. My 9 to 5 is a studio, writing,
and really and truly,
producing.
is it really 9 to 5 though?
But you leave a 9 to 5 for 24/7. That's what I say.
Very well.
24/7.
That sounds
because
more like it.
You do, it's not a special time. You do it, there's all hours of the night. We go through studio and we work, and we network and we do what we do. So it's just that mindset of knowing who you are as a full-time musician and an artist, and especially what your role is in the industry. So
we
that's
know where you are now. You're 7 around the corner, 2 days
It's
away.
7 years, Laura.
It's 7 years. For those kids, and I say kids,
Yeah.
who don't even know Euphoria, Euphoria, before it was a letter and a number.
Yes.
Tell us how Euphoria came about.
Girl, let me tell you, I was having a discussion with Darwin. I told Darwin, boss, I want to put a couple of songs in a CD. And I put a couple of songs in a CD. We'll have a little launch. I always, when I was younger, I always dreamt. Dreams come true, and parents encourage your kids. Don't laugh at dreams, because you never know. I always saw myself and people coming to see me, on a stage doing something. I never knew what it was really like, my own vibe. And tell Darwin, we have a couple of songs there out on Badlander, Wine, Sweet Soca Music. Let me put that on a CD and see what's going on, a launch. We say, boy, we trying that on a Thursday night. Say, what? Everybody afraid. We say we did that on Thursday night.
But why Thursday?
I don't know, because we just off like that. We just do some apagal things.
Right.
You understand? So we said on a Thursday, 1,500 people show up at Gaiety on a Thursday night. When we were going to the venue and I saw vehicles parked from by the Grizzly, the bus stop, Grizzly going up, I started to cry, because I couldn't understand how. And Edwin was in the car with Edwin Yewood at the time.
Right.
Edwin tell me, Teddy, these people coming out. These people come out on a Thursday. You have people out on a Thursday. It's like, wow, when I reached then we saw what it was. You know, the production, everything, just the whole vibe. It was an environment that was so amazing. No stress. You could have stepped on somebody's shoes, they didn't care. That was the first show that VIP leave VIP and come down on the ground because you know, and everybody just had an amazing time. And people that was not there started to tell people. No, people that were there
They
started
started
telling
to
people that
tell
was
people
not
were
there.
not
And it just started to spread. It just started to spread. And every year it got bigger and bigger and bigger until we couldn't stay in Gaiety. You understand? We created something called Salmon's Park. I suspect the Salmon's Gardens. I suspect it's we that caused it to shut down. Darwin, I think so. I remember Darwin called me, Teddy, what you doing? Come now. I said, boss, tell me, Teddy, come now. Come now. He tell me, he bring me at the back of Salmon's Park. He said, what you seeing there? I say, well, I seen cows. I seen horse. Look at cow shit over there. I see that over there. What you say? He tell me, Teddy, that is where we doing the concert. I say, what?
There.
Tell me, Teddy, what that? I go cut make the fellas cut it. So the next time I came back, the grass cut up and everything. And then he just saw this tree like a Garden of Eden and that tree. And he snap a picture and he put that on Facebook and people wonder, where that is. But they know that is at the back of Salmon's Park because all the shows used to happen in the park.
Front, yeah.
So basically the parking lot
Right.
we turned into something.
Right.
You understand? And there it was just amazing. From there, when they kick us out, the guys expect we shut it down.
But,
Yeah,
hello.
yeah,
Them
we
kind of
did, yeah.
noise
The
again.
hotel there.
The hotel
Sorry,
there.
sorry,
People want
sorry.
to sleep on
GM,
the
sorry, we apologize. After that, we went to Pigeon Island. And then Pigeon
that's
Island
been the home
became
since.
our home. And last year was a record number.
Well, okay, let me tell you about last year.
What happened?
You know why I slept last year?
Where you sleep?
I so foolish. Let me tell you, I never stay at any show. Teddy, not
But
even
we leave-
you
that is at
have
4 o'clock.
ever been able to make me stay at a show till the end.
I write 4 o'clock. People are vexed at me. They write, but they stay.
But remember, you had a voice couldn't come.
Yeah, voice couldn't
So
go.
I said to Dahlia, Dahlia, when is Teddy still going to have a big name female star? It's only men. Like a mailbox. You know, have a little hen in the back. She told me, well, we have a surprise. So in my heart, I said, please let it be Destra. And my heart beating
you
so.
see.
Yeah, and I telling my girlfriend, because I brought a girl last time, and I said to her, I hope it's Destra. And when Destra come, let me tell you, when they say show, and I say, wait a minute, what time it is? I said, what?
People.
I couldn't believe I had stayed at a show until the end.
Laura.
And then the madness started. 6 o'clock, I was still back.
Laura,
And we're going to library.
When I remember that night, I said, ladies and gentlemen, I have good news and bad news. Which one you want first? They said, talk. I said, voice can't come. Everybody think. I see a couple of people starting to. I said, but I have a surprise. I pick up my phone. I pick up
That was madness. That was madness.
come and check me there. And then when everybody saw Destra, people were like, "Oh my God, what?"
Like
you
Destra
can't
is
get
one of my favorite female artists.
She's an amazing person
amazing
to
artist.
an amazing person. She has an amazing personality. She's an amazing person to be around. Advice. These are people that I grew up watching. You understand? I remember times Pen and myself used to go to sound checks and watch these bands come here. And today, these are the same people that we tour with.
They're gracing your stage. They
come in for me.
They're an artist. They're a guest on your stage.
on my stage. Dreams come true, girl.
Dreams come true. But I tell you, last year, 6 o'clock, I still in Bexel, and my eyes can't open on Omo, and I had to pull up on the side of the road. And I said, not today. I was in my life after today.
Let me tell you, we finished at 4 o'clock. It was 4 o'clock.
Yes.
And we had to cut down on the show.
But you know why it's 6 o'clock taking me at Bexel? Because I can't leave the park because traffic.
Vibe.
Wow, that was an amazing show. And of course, we made a baby after that.
How you mean? The pipe was
New life. New life. Amazing.
Yes, it's beautiful. And we here again. U7 is Thursday. I tell people Thursday coming is the official launch of St. Lucia Carnival. It is that yet.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
I quite agree.
Yeah.
Is there any works in the pipeline or anything to change it from a Thursday? Because this is getting bigger and bigger. And let me tell you, the young lady I took with me was a teacher, and she had to teach the next day, and she had to be at work for 8 o'clock, and 6 o'clock we're still on the road going home.
So she can't teach if she finished teaching class?
When she taught the class because she went straight home, took a shower, and went straight to work.
But that if you were in Trinidad, that's what happened.
Yeah, man.
it's a different kind of thing over a different kettle of fish. People go to
Literally,
to
I've
sets and they
experienced
have
that.
their clothes in the car and they just
Yep.
take a wash rag, wash their
Yeah,
face,
man.
and they go into work.
I
They go,
know. I have friends
Yeah.
that we were liming together on vacation. Praise God.
"You,
That's madness. And we go in a KFC and they clean up their sets.
after
I
that,
go to
and
work
next-
and
next
I go
night.
to sleep.
beautiful.
So I know what it's like.
It's
I
lovely.
know what it's like. I
It's
know what it's like.
lovely. It's
Amazing
lovely.
madness,
It's
but
lovely.
good, clean fun.
Thank you.
Good, clean
Thank
fun.
you. Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
you're not just all about you and your team. You're
Yeah.
not just all about the music, and you're
Yeah,
not all about
yeah.
just taking.
Yeah,
You're an
yeah.
amazing person, and you
Yes.
always like to give back.
Thank
You haven't
you.
given back
Thank
to me
you.
because
Oh,
my girls still want you to come and do something with them.
Do the
but
thing.
every
Thank-
time
yeah,
they
yeah,
have
yeah.
to do something, Mr. TJ always traveling. Why
sorry.
Mr. TJ traveling like that? I said, well, Mr. TJ have to feed his family.
That's
you know?
what- yeah, that's
so
what
the
I
touring
do.
thing, but hopefully we can connect on a time
Of
when
course
you
we
are
can.
here and
Yeah.
we're doing something.
Not a
So-
problem.
But you're about giving
Yes,
back.
yes.
And you guys do a lot of
Yeah.
philanthropic work. And the
Yeah.
last thing I heard was
Yeah.
that you're doing a course with UE.
Yeah,
in
well,
events planning.
well-
and I wish Dahlia or Darwin was
Well,
into
with if everybody knows the history of Dahlia and Darwin,
Mm-hmm.
God, they're gonna know that these people are where events. You know, the Dahlia used to work with Tourist Board,
Mm-hmm.
you know, at the time setting up jazz, making sure Darwin with his crafts and just making sure, you know, planning. So they wanted to use their, you know, experience and their education to help, because the truth is there are people that may not be academical, just like what you were saying before. So you allow people to see another component of it. You allow people to see what it you know it's made of, that business side of it, from the vendors, from the venue, the licenses that we need to get, the sound checks that we need to do, making sure stage everything is up. So everything, you give these people an idea, and then on the day of Euphoria they would get to be volunteers if they wanted to
Yes,
come and be like a hands-on.
because it's
So
a learning thing.
it's a learning experience, like a
process. You learn something and you
Yeah,
put it into practice.
yeah, yeah.
And then it makes more sense, because there
Yeah.
are people who are like that. I'm one of those
Yeah.
persons. Theory is all good and well, but
Yeah,
it has to
practical
cover
for me.
life.
Yeah.
But where it stops,
Yeah.
I have to be able to put it. Now, if you teach me something in a classroom,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
But to do it, you gotta be able to.
and
Yeah.
chances are I'll retain it and I'll do well in it. But if I put it into practice, I could never forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I would have gotten an A- in a course, the theory, but I will get 100%. I get an A+
In
in
the
the
practical.
practical of it.
Well,
that's always been the case. And there are some people who are just like that. They're
That's
not good
what-
at theory, but they're excellent at
practical.
practical.
Well, that's what we do. So there's a partnership with UE, and there's another component that we added called the sound check. Sound check. I remember when I was, like I was telling you, when we used to go to school, I used to go to Sir Iris Simmons, Penn and Entrepot. We used to, you know, to go and watch bands set up, you know, and see what it is. But when a bassman come in at touring and you hear them notes and you see certain things and everybody, right now we have something where we invite some of the kids from, you know, the schools to come and check out the day we actually set it up to see what it really involves.
And that's
From the-
amazing, TJ, because,
yeah.
like I said in my preamble, there are kids who could be fantastic
Yes,
musicians,
but they're not
are behind the
academical. Yeah,
curve.
yeah,
But
yeah.
because by the time they get introduced to music
yeah.
formally,
Yeah.
their colleagues, their counterparts in
yeah.
other countries are ahead of the curve. They have 7 years under their belt already, and you just picking up a recorder
yeah,
in
yeah.
Form 1
Yeah,
that's at
yeah.
age 11 or 12 or maybe 13 for some people, you know. You're picking up a recorder to learn music.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other thing is, there are people who learn by ear.
Yeah.
They can't read music.
Laura, but you're talking to one. I was never that academical student in school. Anybody that went to Cyrus Simmons, you understand? They know where I come from. Beating drums on the desk, playing little keyboards, taking a little bass, doing things in Miss Bond's class. They know where I come from. I cannot read music. I do everything off air. I produce off air. I have another brother of mine, Francis, with that plays with Soja Blue Mango, wicked bassman off the air. I have another brother that's on a cruise ship, Irvin, piano.
And I
off
learn
the air.
music, and
Yeah.
I think if I put my mind to it, I can still
Yeah,
read music.
yeah.
But I cannot play anything
Because
by ear. But I can read the music.
But hear that sometimes the reason why I think it's good to have both. But for me, when you off air, you can feel. There are people. If you take out the sheet in front of them, you done. If they don't have the sheet, they can't feel it. Compared to learning the song and feeling the song and putting your own kind of style
I
into the song.
understand where you're coming from because last year we worked with an amazing he's not Peace Corps volunteer, he's from Japan, and he's a music teacher. He teaches in the South. Mr. Tamu, and hi Mr. Tamu if you're listening, and all those who know Mr. Tamu, they know he's a fantastic keyboardist. He plays about 3 or 4 instruments, and this man played every song at a mini concert that we had for our junior choir, and fantastic. I mean, if you close your eyes, you think you're listening to the original recording. But every time we had to, because the voice is not the same. You have a professional, we've gone for voice training, and you have these kids who just have raw talent, and they're going to sing it their way. He had to stop, and so he couldn't. But he's a fantastic. Now our organist at church, on the other hand, can read music. He can also play by ear. No, we'll do it in this key. And
well, it's good to do both. It's good to do both. For me, I just never, and that's something probably I have to do if I really want to take it to that next level. But from the time I was a kid, everything was self-taught. I started playing drums at the back of my parents' house on needle tins.
Oh my goodness.
Put something there with and use the cover for a splash.
Like the guy at Grocery, yes.
That is how I played drums.
Wow.
Nobody taught me to play keyboards. Nobody taught me to play bass. Everything is off of there and feel. But
and that's the thing, I wish our education system would get to that point where we can differentiate. So
what is what?
I don't have to go to school and then chemistry, and I'm not interested in chemistry. Up to a day like today, I cannot tell you what is Here
my favorite thing. I cannot do what is X multiplied by F and F in the corner there when it's P and Pythagoras theorem. We're not on that.
It's hard for some kids. Now I know some kids they'll sit in the class and you struggle with a concept and they say, my God, that's so easy. Can't you sit? And math comes alive to them like music notes.
Yeah, but the truth is, I bet you some of these things that is forced down the children's throat to learn, they don't use half or 3/4 of that in their passion or what they want to do, or in actually the 9 to 5 that they want.
But the funny thing about it is I attended in Canada, I attended a program. And it was amazing how these kids who could not understand basic trigonometry, basic arithmetic, but they were passionate about something else, and then because they needed to pass math, those basic courses to be able to graduate.
Which is true. You have to do that. They don't play
like that. You don't graduate if you don't pass the because they're not going to churn out and ruin the reputation of the school just because they want you to get out of the school. You will not graduate. You cannot say, I went to this school because you didn't graduate.
You're right.
And they would have these special ed classes, and they would take music or sports, and they would have these special ed teachers. And by the time they got out of these classes and they went back into math or English, they were passing. They would never be A+ students, but they were getting the C's and B's because they could connect it to their passion. And they could understand, and they would make the relationship work. Okay, for me to be able to play football, I need to be able to play math. I need to be able to work math. So I'm going to do
at least get the basic things right then,
and I'm going to use the strategy on the football field to help me with trigonometry, to help me with this, and it worked. But unfortunately, in St. Lucia,
we had to revamp the thing, and a lot. I get these messages a lot when I even go to the school and talk to the kids and let them know, because we're in a position now where kids look up to us and want to do what we do, and you tell them. There's one kid that told me, Teddy, can you talk to my dad, because I really love music, I want to, and I understand, but they sometimes passion. I'm just somebody that is an example of where passion can can take you. So I'm just a living proof of dreams coming true, following what you want, and not taking no for an answer, not living somebody else's dream, but live what I want to do.
You're that
So that's
mile
why I'm
high.
here. Yes.
Now listen.
Yes, love.
Talk to us about U7.
Oh,
what can
Lord.
we expect?
Let me tell you,
What's going on?
Thursday is going to be a show of a lifetime. I'm very excited.
Teddy, don't send people home at 5
No,
o'clock
I'm
in the
not going to.
morning.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not going to do that. But if it happens, y'all go stay. But I'm just saying, Thursday is going to be an amazing night. A night of love, a night of passion, a night of music. from the steel pan coming in, the Babylon Steel Pan Orchestra, you know, inside coming in, with blacks and the All Stars full, with voice of and halves, with lyrical for the first time on a Euphoria stage.
You're talking about all my favorites,
Yeah,
man.
you
Wow.
understand? We have
That's a sugar
Vaughn.
rush right there.
Yeah, I tell you, diabetes girl, diabetes, do nothing. We have Vaughn. We just have to-
And then when I get the amputations, man, where's TJ? Damn, I'm still coming on my boots.
we had Vaughn from Grenada. Vaughn was, you
Yes,
know, the
the young man.
place.
Oh my
Yes, so
gosh.
with Trouble in the Morning,
Yes,
he's been doing
yes,
his thing.
yes,
In my set, a little bit different. I incorporated some of the national, I call it local acts. You have national acts. You understand? People like Shemi J gonna be involved in my set.
That guy is
You
good. This
understand?
is the guy
Amazing
that
talent.
sings
Pretty on Purpose. That's
Oh
right.
my
We
gosh.
actually
Yeah.
dropped the remix of Pretty on Purpose featuring myself. You understand? So we're doing that on that night. Also we have Ricky T, the General. You understand?
can't
that
have a show
you
without
can't have the
Ricky T.
show, you know, Pringles hosting. You understand? So you know
Enough
your problems
jokes.
already. You know already. Then I got some, you know, people that might just pop by. You know, people that just pop in.
Now,
Yeah.
let me tell you something.
People that pop up.
I
pop
tell you
up.
something.
Yeah.
I put my request,
What good?
and I put it out there in the universe.
Oh,
Last year I
good.
got my wish. It probably won't come true, but I'm putting it out
What do you
there
want? What do you
because
want? What do you want?
it is around the corner.
What
I
do you
can
want?
say already.
Yeah.
US 7
Yeah. Well, that we done in planning for
You know,
that.
there's a lady from Trinidad
Yeah.
that I've always admired her vocal ability. She's a
Talk to
great
me, my girl.
writer. And
Jean
she's
in
done a
this,
lot
guys.
of
Rub me the right
things.
way. Come in.
Yeah. You know, there's a little lady called Nadia Baston.
Nadia Batson.
I love her so much. Well, so long I see her and she come out with that and I say, wow. And then I hear she had a hand in Napa Fama Napi.
Yeah, Nadia, you know how Nadia is. Nadia has been an amazing writer, writing hits for years.
For years.
And nobody been giving Nadia that kind of respect. I had a problem with that because I find you don't have to wait until somebody have a quote unquote a big tune.
But the thing
to
is, she's
give.
a great vocalist as
Yes,
well. She
amazing.
sings and she writes.
But Nadia going to be here the next week for Color Me Red. Big up yourself, Nadia. You get a nice plug there. I
You can
telling
say
you.
what you want.
You-
But I would go to one show.
Oh, you
That
go-
is, I go to the big people's show. I
Oh,
want to go. I want to go to the church to sing. I go to one
but
show.
No, but it's love. It's love.
Hello.
They're gonna have everybody there.
Yeah, they can have
Ben,
everybody there,
you-
but I go into one
Okay,
show.
I love you.
I don't have that stamina
I
anymore.
love you. I love you.
I
I love
have
you.
that
I love
stamina.
you. I
So
love you.
I'm putting it out there in
Yes.
the universe.
Okay, to see if we can get Nadia on a Euphoria
On a
stage.
Euphoria
Yeah, well, this year it might be a little tough.
Always, yeah. Because one year she sang backup, I think, with Cheryl.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
that's where she
Nadia,
first came
you
into.
can't beat Nadia.
Yeah, that's when she first came in my, within
Yeah,
Miami. I
yeah,
said, whoa, who's
yeah.
that girl? Like, I
She's
mean,
amazing.
she is.
Amazing,
And I read up on her and I'm like,
yes,
wow, she's
amazing.
an amazing
There's
writer.
a rhythm that Nadia wrote the whole of that song at I Here With Me Friends and them. She wrote all the songs on that rhythm.
That is
You understand?
amazing.
She wrote she wrote Farmer's biggest, with Farmer's big tune right now, Park on Clothes in a Garbage Bag. Who can me? She did
Let me
both of
tell you,
that.
my dad's singing that. My
Yeah,
dad's
I'm telling
70
you.
this year. My
But,
dad's singing that. And I
that's
hear
how-
my daddy sing that. I say, I hear right. So I
But-
come closer and I hear daddy say, back on my clothes. I say,
But that is real music, and you notice it I'm talking about Carnival too. It's just reality situations. So long as I see you as the same thing.
Yes.
You know, when you see somebody in a long time, what do you think?
yeah, you want to go
I'll
for a
put you up
line.
for it, I'll
Yeah,
put,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. That-
So I'll put that out there. We'll see, what
how
can
we can
happen.
work out
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But she is definitely going to be in St. Lucia this
She's
year.
going to be, but unfortunately,
yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah,
tell you,
yeah.
I can tell you,
Yeah.
it's a long time.
Yeah.
I ain't see Color Me Red.
Yeah, you should. It's a
pun
beautiful. It's a beautiful line.
It's a long time I ain't
Yeah.
see Color Me Red. I
Yeah.
even thought Color Me Red was a foreign.
Nah,
I
it's
liked
a
it.
beautiful
I used to go
line.
to all them shows, but now I live in the South.
So you just come up for one.
I just come in for
I appreciate
one.
that. I love you. Thank you very much.
I just
Coco.
come in for one. I think I may have missed a couple
Yeah,
because maybe I was out of state.
yeah.
But I try to always go to Euphoria.
Yeah.
Color Me Red, I haven't done in a while. I haven't done Sexy in Black. I haven't done a lot of
Yeah,
the shows.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
used to do a lot of them. My
Yeah,
God, I used to
yeah.
have hot foot. But yeah.
This year there's so many. The carnival. There's a lot of people that's going to be coming to St. Lucia. I can tell you that.
I know I hate them, and I said,
yeah.
but why can't I go to the supermarket and
And
pick
pick-
that one,
Yeah,
and drop them
but
on your
you
stage?
can't- I know.
I mean,
I know,
I'm looking for
right?
trouble for you.
You
Albert,
never know if
know?
you never know in our 10th anniversary. One thing we have a big thing here. We have something planned in there. The best of. Oh Lord. So you know it's problems.
Whoa,
Yeah, so
whoa,
we talking
whoa,
from
whoa.
2012.
Whoa.
Talking from 2012.
Talking about like Rupee, talking about
Edwin,
Oh
Talpri,
my
you never know, like
God.
problems inside there.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I have to start training all
Let me
now.
tell you, I just really want to thank everybody because we couldn't do that without the love and support of the supporters, the fans, everybody that's been rocking with me from 2007, even before that when I wasn't doing soca music, to actually be able
Yeah,
to
because
come.
one of my most favorite performances of yours
Yeah.
is when you were singing that
Which one?
that song with Blue Mago.
That French, you see, you know that, you see how long.
I said, who's that?
But when I came into soca, everybody thought where he come from.
Yes,
but they didn't know I was already there.
I thought back then when you were doing that.
Yeah.
I said, who's that foreign guy that have such a good control
Oh,
or
yeah.
command
I've
of
been doing-
the language? And then
yeah.
I realized, when I do my little research, I say, yes, son of the style.
Yes, we
So I
did.
say, that's what we have to keep our eye on.
There's a lot of people that give me opportunities to grow underneath them or with them till I became the that brand of the name Jettison John. From Barbara Caddy to Rob Zai Taylor to Richard, Payne, Francis, Boo, all of these people give me opportunities.
And that's a beautiful thing
jazz.
about who you are.
Yeah.
You're very versatile. So you don't.
Yeah.
And what I love about Euphoria
Yeah.
is I don't go to Euphoria and get, okay, I'm listening to a recording. It's different. And there's so many different elements. You have the arts. You have, last year you had the Mocha Jumbies. You had you had people coming from all over. I don't know where to look. I look in so. I say, well, look, they have another set over there. And coming on, it's always a production. And that's what I love about your show.
Yes.
And Euphoria has grown a lot from not just from being indoors to outdoors, but the production has grown.
Yes.
What you see, it's like, I remember the first time a friend of mine, special friend of mine, went to Kassav with me, and it was like, okay, there's a production. Wow, like whoa, like they're really professional. And I'm like, that is the same thing with you. Sometimes you just want to be like, the music too hot. That's why you don't stand there and just watch. Because the music hot. Let me tell you, the band is always superlative. It's always great. The dancers, you don't know if to watch the TJ singing or watch the dancers. It's happening. It's just a great production.
Well, it's a collective team. The creative behind it in terms of putting the Mocha Jumbies and doing certain things. When Darwin, with that artsy, kind of vibes, put stuff together. The band is my forte. This year we added some changes. You understand? I have an amazing drummer called Shaq. I put Penn, Vi Jason on that sampler to make sure everything cool.
Right.
My musical director Pepe, Casey, Zach, all of us, we just been working hard. These guys have been with me some longer than the others, but they've been with me from the get-go. And to actually be at a place right now where we can actually tour, together also is an amazing feeling.
And you have on your stage guys who have their own band, guys who in their own rights are like, you should be opening for these guys, and these guys are on yours. They're a guest on yours.
Yes.
And what I love about it is that there's no up playing or down playing. TJ is the star, and we can't, because man, with all them wardrobe changes, you have to be the star.
I have tried.
But until you turn around and TJ in another outfit, it's like, if you wasn't here, what happened? The only thing you have come there in a gown and high heels.
I telling you.
But then when you have people like Blacks, who's like, I love Blacks. I love his raspiness. I love
Blacks is a teacher to a lot of soca artists, including Marshall. A lot of people came through that band. And taught from Destra to Olatunji. Everybody came through the All-Stars and used that training. I learned a lot from Blacks in terms of my arguments on stage and how to command people. Sometimes it's not about the shouting and it's about the conversation.
And sometimes you enjoy the conversation more than you enjoy the music, because it one lends to the other.
So for me, I learned that. And to actually be a St. Lucian in the front line of the All-Stars is amazing. So it's myself, Ricardo, Drew, and Blacks. When I'm in Trinidad, the All-Stars is my second home. You understand? And Kes also, when I just do stuff over there. So everybody has basically embraced me and because we cool.
I put my universe. I always put my ladies first.
Yes.
I put my out there in the universe that Nadia one day will grace
Beautiful.
Euphoria stage.
Boss, y'all hear that? All right.
I put that out there.
Yeah,
in the universe.
yeah,
Make it happen.
yeah.
And do get me fix.
Okay.
Don't do magic face.
We will, I go cool
All
out. I
right.
go cool out.
Now,
Yeah.
do you ever see yourself having on your stage, not
Yeah,
you being
yeah.
on his stage?
Yeah.
Because I think you have been on
Yeah,
his
yeah,
stage,
yeah,
but him being on your
Yeah.
stage like a Marshall.
Yeah, it can happen. I mean, it's business at the end of the day. It can happen, but I believe it'll happen in the right time.
In the right time.
I think our timing and God's timing is different. Everything that's happening right now is happening at an ordained time. You understand? I'm in the position that I'm in right now. It is to maintain that position, you know, where people have that respect for you and that's all right, they see you as somebody, or they see you as an equal, as not somebody trying a thing, but somebody doing. So nothing is not, you know, possible, but when that time comes, you know, it's gonna be okay.
Because I look forward to that day
Yeah.
when you have, because Marshall, I mean, been doing that since he's 9.
Yeah, they
And
like
to have him
over
on
30 something
to
years.
have him on your stage,
Yeah.
rather than the other way
Yeah,
around.
it'll be
That's a
heavy.
that's a feather in your cap.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else
Yeah,
aside.
it would be heavy. It would be heavy. Are you for real, Marshall? It would be heavy. So you put
6
things out.
o'clock, 6 o'clock, people live in there, man.
8:30. As a matter of fact, the next day is a holiday. Good evening.
I remember the first time I went to an Onion show.
With the Flames. Oh, you know them, man.
And then I came outside and I was shocked. It was at the Gaties, and I came outside and I said, "Oh my God!" And this was how I was going to my car. And then
Lord.
driving. Thank God at the time my tints were heavy. I don't like AC. When I saw people going to work, I bring my
But of course, by telling you-
because I'm like, you're just coming from Fed. Now, you know, outside of St. Lucia, that's no
Yeah.
big deal for
Yeah,
me
but
at
in
the
St.
time.
Lucia,
But in
yeah.
St. Lucia, it's like you
A
cannot have a
different-
reputation to maintain for people to be seeing you coming from a Fed.
Girl,
And
what-
then people calling me, but I saw you. Even if you
What?
pick up
So,
and
and what?
they know your car. You know?
What? So you can party, you men just like anybody
Yeah,
else?
but you know, no.
I tell you, don't live your life. Don't build your life. based
I
on
was
what
like,
people
oh
say
my
now.
God. Yeah, but you know, that's right. Yeah.
Hello.
You gotta
we
live-
passed that
yeah,
already.
we passed that.
Hey, the same people that telling you that they're there.
Yes.
So because they're there, you can't go anywhere because
Well,
it's
not
for
the
the
people that they're just as bad as me, but the people going to work and they're watching you.
That's
Ah,
their business. They wish they
know?
could have come.
Exactly.
Don't dig nothing.
Perspective.
Yes, leave that there. Leave that there.
Perspective.
Yeah.
So okay, so we have on the
Yes,
show we have
yes.
Blacks.
That's right.
We have
That's right.
Voice.
That's right.
We have Kes.
That's no.
Kes?
No.
Kes not there, though?
Kes is going to be next week. Next week.
We don't care about we don't care about next week.
No, nah. That was already, organized with them. But we have an amazing. Listen to me.
Tell me about the cast.
It's beautiful. The All Stars, Blacks, Lyrical, Vaughn.
Oh my gosh,
that's
Lyrical
right.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ufren, there. Vaughn is
Has a
there.
great little something there.
Yeah. Ricky T. Sorry, Shemi. A couple of surprises too. So everybody.
I
come
like
out.
y'all with your surprises.
Yeah,
huh?
but it's already.
I want to know the
Well,
surprise so I
no.
can factor in
We
what am
got
I
the-
living. So I have to wait until the last
You
note
have to
and
sit there for
song.
the last one.
Because 7 o'clock.
And the show starting early. Yeah, let me tell you something. 9 o'clock.
And I
is
have a
show
10
time.
o'clock meeting on Friday.
Don't dig nothing. You'll be late. Hear that? Hear that? Listen to me. 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Everybody, it's 9 o'clock. The show is going to start. Blacks and the All Stars is going to be on stage at 9.
And that's not a joke,
that's
That's
not a joke.
serious because last year I
Yeah.
took it very, very serious.
Yeah.
I got there
Yeah.
and when that show started, I said, "Thank you, Jesus."
Yeah. So we are.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
doing that.
Thank you,
and
Jesus,
making
I
sure-
was there.
We're making sure
And
everything.
come a little earlier because I don't know if you still have it
Traffic
this year.
heavy, yeah?
But, I forget about the traffic
Y'all
part.
know.
But when you get there, there's the Peter girls
That's
with
right.
the
That's right.
movable photo booth. You can take pictures,
That's right.
meet a friend, have a
Everything.
drink until the show starts. So
It's
you don't have to get there 4-9. You
it's-
need to get there before 9 because there's a lot
beautiful.
happening
It's beautiful.
even before the show
It's
starts.
beautiful. I wanna thank special thanks to people like Bolding with that vision. I wanna thank Flo for being there from the get go with everything. I wanna thank Kim from My Kind of Travel. Kim was one that used to take care of me from even before we started doing Euphoria in terms of believing in what I wanted to do. So
a
yeah,
fantastic
an amazing
woman.
person. Sol is on this year. You understand? It's just everything. Anthony's with the selling of the tickets. Just all different, sponsors that we've. I don't have everybody right now, but I just want to thank everybody for taking that chance, with us and being partners, with us.
TJ, can we?
Yeah.
There are lots of people watching.
Yeah.
Can we give a little some?
You wanna give something?
Just
there?
one. And that one is on
Wait.
TJ. That one is on me because
The
guys,
last
I'm
time-
off the market.
Yeah,
There's
Laura's
no
off the-
more dates with Laura.
Law of the market. Let me tell you something. We organize that. Did you know what happened there? But don't think nothing. That's what it is.
There will be no more dates with Laura.
Uh-huh.
Laura has a permanent date now. No more dates with Laura.
Boy.
None of that.
Bugala House.
And we don't want any
The
third.
man is here. He's here. Andy and Rose is here. And we're calling him the coming Rose. Yeah, he's
And we
here.
don't want any third wheel.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you just one. We're giving away a ticket.
Yeah, we give away
We'll
one.
give a
We give
ticket.
away one. Yeah.
Right.
Hear what somebody have to call. Hear what somebody had to call. They can call, right?
Yeah, they can call.
Hear
The
what
lines are
somebody-
open 451.
I have 3 songs this year.
Lines ringing already.
I have 3 songs this year. 3 songs. Hey, Junior, I'm not here. I'm not here. Junior.
Can you hear now?
Let me hear. Yeah, all right. I hear you, Junior. All right. So I have 3. Okay.
So, welcome. Hello, you're on the air.
Good night, Laura.
Good night. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Are you jazzed? I know it's not jazz, but it's soca. But you know, you jazzed about U7.
I'm just excited to go to U7 as we speak.
You serious? You've ever been?
I've never been to Euphoria.
How come, girl? All the things you ain't there.
Well, that's why she jazzed. You want to go now?
I have never been there. I've always longed to go, and when I got the opportunity to go, then I had tragedy in my life. So then I had no choice but to sit back and say, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm finally going to go eventually at some point.
Okay. I apologize.
So hopefully this year is the year for you.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. So how you know my music? How long you been listening to my music?
Of course I know your music. My favorite song, like Laura, is Vent.
All right. You're easy, man. You're easy. So here
I love that song so much that when people talk about me, all I sing is Vent for them.
That you right, my girl. You right, go ahead at her. So here
Yes.
I have you know any of my songs this year? I've released 3 songs this year.
Idu Kosa. Idu Kosa.
Give me one more. I was telling you 3, but if you can give me one
But
more, I'll
she's
give
singing
it to you.
already. Yeah, she's singing already. So that's 2.
Yeah.
You see the one you have with Shemi J?
You had that even just really forgotten.
I had that this afternoon.
Why?
This afternoon.
And I have. Give me one more. They have one. They have 2 more, but just give me one.
Yeah, and there's a special one.
They have. They have.
Now, you know that's the only 2 I know.
The only 2 you know. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your name?
My name is Nadia Pierre-Louis.
Louis, we'll give to Nadia.
Give to
We'll give
Nadia?
to Nadia. You know why I'll give it to her? Because you know it of the tragedy
apart
last
from
year.
that,
Yeah.
PJ,
What is
I
it?
want to say to you that you touched a point I was very interested in terms of children not being academically
Yes,
inclined,
yes.
but they tune towards music.
Yes.
And I want to say openly that I have a son who is not 100% academically
Yes.
inclined.
Nothing wrong with that.
And this year, I actually wrote a song for him. He sang for the very first time in his life and placed 3rd runner-up at the RC Jam.
Whoa. So we should link up. You see the same thing? That's what I'm telling you. We should develop these kind of, talents, and when we see these things, and thank you for actually supporting him. You understand?
Yes, and I'm actually saying to him,
Yeah.
as I heard you, I said to him, are you interested in going to listen to TJ and them set up their bands? Because school is closed now.
Yeah, tell him come tomorrow.
Something.
We doing sound check, and I'll personally want to meet him tomorrow.
No problem.
Pigeon
What time
Island.
are you doing your sound check?
Yeah, it's gonna be at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, Pigeon Island, yes.
I may not be able to bring him myself, but
Yeah.
I will send somebody
Send
along
somebody,
with
yeah,
him.
man. It would be nice to meet him.
No problem.
Okay?
And what's your name?
Nadia Pierre-Louis.
Nadia, you from Babino?
No, but I have family in Barbados.
Okay, all right.
The way Laura talk like she know you.
No. I know some Pierre Louis. Nadia Pierre Louis. Okay, Nadia. TJ.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send to
That's
Nadia.
right, that's
I'm
right,
gonna
that's
send to
right.
Dahlia,
That's right, send
and
to
then
Dahlia.
yeah, and I'll give your number of air to
No
our
problem.
producer so that we can contact you.
No problem.
Well done. Good. Awesome. Don't forget to send the little one to the sound check.
She got?
Awesome.
Yes,
She
yeah,
got.
yeah.
And I think last year we also got somebody who called and said the same thing
Yeah.
about their
Yeah,
son.
yeah. No,
and
there's
that's
one.
amazing.
You know, I remember last year. You remember last year somebody called and the girl was pregnant.
Oh my gosh, yes. And they sent the proof. And they sent the proof.
They wanted a
The
picture of
belly.
the
I said,
belly,
oh my
both
God.
ways.
And it was a big belly. And
Yeah.
they said, it could
So
have
the
been,
girl water break last year,
you know, it could have been a nice gesture, but I feel I want to take that
Oh,
that
Lord.
risk.
Yeah, we
because
are good
I'll
there.
be panicking
Yeah.
if anything were to happen.
Yeah,
See me
yeah,
running like a
yeah,
mad farm.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, you know how it is.
That was a little bit much, but
Yes.
yeah. I can't believe you remember.
I remember that. That was one of the highlights of the
and
night.
he sent, I said, how I know she's really pregnant?
Yeah,
And
the
he
man
sent
sent the
yeah,
picture.
man. That was
Bold,
bold.
eh?
That was bold.
Bold,
But
I
nah,
mean.
we wouldn't take that chance. So
it's
Nadia
good.
PLA.
Yeah. Nadia play you get one, thank you for following. Thank you for and when you get calls like that with people that understand and
We have another
we
call.
have more. Hello?
Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, good night.
Good
Call
night.
you live.
Hello.
Hey.
Yes. You need to listen to us on your telephone and not on your radio on your television because there's a delay and there's a feedback.
Okay, not a problem. One moment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, what going on? What you doing there?
She'll
I
answer.
am listening.
You listening?
You listening? But we asked the question. The question was answered already.
You not given a ticket?
You what? Hello?
Give away another ticket?
If you're not giving
If I give away another ticket?
Yes.
You've ever been to Euphoria?
No.
How come?
But all the people are calling and they never been to Euphoria. What's going on?
I ain't somebody situation you in the back there,
No.
Yeah. So you've never been.
No, I've never been.
What have you heard about it?
Well, I've heard it's the event for the year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All that
most
you
of
heard?
my coworkers, I'm talking about it, and a few of them have their tickets. So,
So wait, you let the co-workers have the tickets,
Ticket.
cut style on you,
Uh-huh.
miss the early bird, and you call in the show.
no, but I have stuff to do. I have a whole child to take care of.
You have a what? You can't have half a child to take care of her. If a whole child is
I was wondering if I heard badly to have
You have a
a
whole
whole
child like you have a. Let's make half children. So listen.
Ay.
You know any of my songs this year?
Yes.
Now, don't give. If you've been listening, don't give no.
They have two fresh ones. Nobody has say yet.
Two those that have
know
not
it.
been.
I already know it.
What? And give me
Look at you, I already know it.
and sing a line in it too. I playing that.
Oh yeah, the bar has been set.
What going on?
There, that's one.
What?
Creme de la creme.
Give me the code. Give me the code. Sing it from here. Hold on.
Is it there?
Let me start. You are my.
Oh my God.
Oh, you're body. My girl, bye bye.
I thought it don't
Hello.
have that.
It don't have. Oh my God, it is. I give the opening
I
already.
really love Leave It There. I
What?
don't know if that's the name for it, but
What's the other
Leave it
one?
there. She said she like leave it there.
You like leave it there?
But hear what she said. She really like leave it there. So if she really like leave it there, so she should
So,
have
yeah.
be able to sing a line.
So give me a line and leave it there.
I know the catchy phrase that says.
What's the catchy phrase? And the child.
I know that.
What's the catchy phrase?
Hello.
Are you hearing me?
The child situation in the back.
I just said the baby screaming.
Maybe I ain't scream.
Yeah, like the baby that want to go to U7.
But she's singing. So
She's singing.
So what she singing? So what's the catchy line?
the catchy line, I know that the part that's saying you have some kind of thing doing with your mouth.
You have some kind of thing
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
doing
know
with
how to
your
say it,
mouth.
but-
What you telling me there? Lord, that one is on you. That one is on you.
No.
You be the judge
That one is no.
as to what?
No, hear what?
Yeah.
No, serious thing. Darling, what's your name?
It's Kashama.
Kashama, serious business going on there because TJ was only supposed to give one ticket tonight. Now you come in and you say you have a whole baby instead of a half a baby.
baby.
So we're going to help you out with the whole baby. Because we understand baby's expensive and you have obligations,
Yeah.
and maybe you let the early bird pass already.
Yeah,
And so if you couldn't
yeah.
afford the early bird, it's not now. So
True.
we understand that things hard, things
Yep.
nice, and we want you to share the passion and the
Yep,
love and the
yep,
music and the vibe.
yep.
Because let me tell you,
WhatsApp.
it is something awesome. So hear what?
Yes.
We're going to give you a chance, another chance. Collect yourself. There are 2 songs. You name 2. Quem de la Quem, leave it there. Leave it there. Leave it there.
Leave. Yes. Kitesa.
Right. Kitesa.
Yeah.
Leave. So you need to choose which one you know best and sing.
A line. Give me a
I'm not
line.
asking you for 2 lines, just one
line.
And you have to sing it. Not tell me something you're doing with your mouth.
Sakila, what's that?
What is that? Give it to us. Now we're running out of time. Huh?
Yeah,
So,
the whole night. Let me tell you something. We have other callers there.
Yeah, man.
Ready? Let's go. Counting to 5.
I'm not in it, my darling. Look, you can't.
My girl, thank you. Thank you very much. You tried.
We have a premiere to
Yes. We have something to premiere tonight.
we have something
As
to
a matter of
premiere
fact, we premiering your favorite song tonight. Leave. That's right, Coco.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for
thanks
calling.
Trying, yeah. Because guys, listen. These tickets are hot commodity.
Hot bread.
We can't just give them away when people still looking for them.
Yeah.
Producer,
It's time to wrap up. Since I was waiting for you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
TJ, take
Yes.
away before we do our little premiere thing.
I want to thank everybody again for everything. Just that energy, just that love. Everybody's so excited about Thursday. It's the Talked About show. You understand? Everybody's coming. That's the only show you can come there if your mother, your grandmother, you understand?
You understand?
Your nenen power, great nenen.
Everybody
Everybody
have a good
come
time.
in
And
and
what
have
I
a good
love
time.
about this show,
Yeah.
it's big people,
That's right.
little people there,
They
but
have.
they're big
They're
people
big,
vibe.
yes,
It's
everybody
just,
there, everybody
it's just
there.
a niceness.
It's
I mean,
beautiful.
imagine there was a girl last year, and I have to
Yeah.
say that, and that girl passed out, and I thought, oh my gosh, our friend said, no, just that's euphoria.
It's
and
time.
that was euphoria,
That's
and I
what
said,
it
oh
is.
my gosh.
That's what it is.
Like, it's like Michael Jackson up in there.
On Thursday, you gain that. You gain that on
You
Thursday.
know,
So everybody
so-
gonna see, an amazing production. Everybody come out to see the entire cast. Myself.
TJ, I haven't looked at the platform.
You see what going on
to
the
see
platform
what
there?
the
That what
song
going on
we
there?
have.
The texting platform real hot
Hey,
there.
somebody tell me my cousin looks 18. Thank you.
Really? Let me tell you something. You don't
Edward J, they
understand.
tell me they hope the man nearby.
Oh Lord, he's in the house.
He's in the
He's
house.
in the house. Buglala. Yeah, you mean Buglala?
Hey, somebody tell me TJ, who's your guest? Tennyson John is my guest.
How you mean?
But by now they should know
How
that.
you mean? Yeah,
Oh, my
yeah.
God. Oh, look, one of my favorite educators. Love, TJ. Keep
Thank
the
you,
music
thank you. I
going.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
My
And I
goodness.
just love the feedback from everybody. Everybody allows me to do what I do. When I get that feedback with songs, go back and work on it and do everything. Everybody knows me. I'm that approachable person that you can talk to about anything. I just want to thank you, for the love and the support for everything. And I can't wait to show you all the video. It was, done by Logo. That's right. Directed by Logo.
It's a good thing. You see, I had to check the message.
12:30
to 2:30 sound check for the kids to come.
That's right. 12. Good.
Yeah, 12:30 to 2:30.
12:30 to
sound
2:30.
check.
Yes. But we up there early anyways. But 12:30 to
yeah.
for the kids. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's Dahlia.
Yes. Thank you.
Watching.
Oh, that is what I wasn't thinking my phone there.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Forget. We're having such a good time. I forget to check the platform.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
We have to start. One day we might not have news. Hey, just take from news and go.
Yeah, man, and just go.
How you
Now,
doing?
I just want to make a correction. I think in my preamble I said minimum standard is in grade 3.
Yeah.
It's actually in grade 4. So thank you, teacher, for telling me. In my exuberance, I mistook the grades, but it's grade 4 and not grade 3. So we're getting people to. And I'm certain, but as usual, I forget sometimes to check my emails because it's a little bit delayed. So I'm certain people will send it, but we're running out of time.
Yes.
And we have our premiere.
Yes.
Guys, we have our premiere. Take it away.
Junior, we go. Junior! We good? Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to share this with you. For the first time ever, it's going to be on TV, and we couldn't do it anywhere else but DBS. You understand?
What's happening?
That's right. Oh, Lord, that's right. So we want to premiere this music video. This is my first release for this year. Kite Sa. Leave. Produced by Logo, directed, of course, by Logo and Daniel. Hershey's, DJ Hershey's in that too. Big up everybody. Just big up the whole cast of everybody who came out and had a good time and make this possible. It's one very close to my heart. You understand? So listen, check it out right here, right now. Leave.
It's a voice inside of my head. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're doing there. Look at you, watch you. You know what to do. Situation bad, but you're holding on to this thing that pulling you down. Set it free, be free. You deserve to be happy. You afraid to leave your comfort zone and think of what it could be. What you doing there? You know you're not good there. You better move from there and start thinking about yourself. Well, it can only get better if you want to make it better. And you are a winner. Pack your bag and keep it. Don't look back and keep it. I'm if you're running from that, not going back. Run away from that, not going back. Run away from that, not going back. Everybody sing your happy song. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Look at you, yes you. You got to know your value. Every day you say and you're leaving, Jack, but something there have you going back. Break free, free. Stop faking like you're happy. Don't worry about to say this or that. The man in the mirror say, what you doing there? You know you're not good there. You better move from there and start thinking about yourself. Well, it can only get better if you want to make it better. And you are a winner. Pack your bag and keep it. Don't look back and keep it. I'm if you're running from that, not going back. Run away from that, not going back. Run away from that, not going back. Everybody sing your happy song. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. No matter what you're facing, you're gonna make it through. I can see why you're fretting, but don't let it get to you. I know what you're thinking. Believe me, I've been there too. You got to get off the ground and get it. Pack your bag and keep it. Don't look back and keep it. I'm if you're running from that, not going back. Run away from that, not going back. Run away from that, not going back. Everybody sing your happy song. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. You better leave it alone. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-ba-da-ba, leave that there. Ba-da-ba-da-ba, leave that there. You better leave it alone. What happens now? You get